BIS.
Before Grooper, we had the application extender and master scan. And so everyone had to scan the document in, index it, and then as a batch, and go through and index everything, and then send it and save it. And so it took a lot of time in between each document. It seemed to me like a lot of downtime. It's the same way we do in OCIS. You have to type everything in. You had to put in the names in a certain manner so that it would be able to find it. Otherwise, you couldn't find it. Everything was manually indexed. There wasn't anything that it recognized and inserted for itself at all. You had to type in everything. It's helping immensely. It's nothing like it was before. And now, instead of having one system, I have two. I have two people working on it full time, and my only downfall right now is having to stop at 3 o'clock for the backups. But I want to be safe, not sorry. I don't see how any other county can't go with this. In fact, I want OCIS to go with this, because currently with OCIS, you put a barcode on a document, you type in a code, you scan it, and you have to type in all the information. With Grooper, that information imports itself. You just look at it, make sure it's there. I'm amazed at what it does and how it speeds everything up. If I had that on OCIS and my other girls could do that too, it would be wonderful. It would be miraculous, and I don't see how any other court clerk couldn't go with it to expedite matters. Even the smallest of counties would get their work done a lot quicker. It cost me over $10,000 to convert 80 rolls of microfilm. When I converted those 80 rolls, it was only the petition and the journal entries, marriage licenses, things like that. With Grooper, being able to scan the entire file in a matter of seconds, and it import that information in. I'm not having to expend that money. I'm not having to ship that product out and wait for it to come back. There's a risk of it not coming back. There's a risk of it not being done right, because the two people that I do have trained to do it on Grooper are also employees that have worked in the system, that know what they're looking at. They know how to interpret the documents. They know what Grooper's missing, if it's missing anything, which most of the time it doesn't. Very seldom do they have to edit anything, versus sending it to another company where someone's going through it really super fast. They're not trained in the court system, so they don't know the ins and outs, the parameters of the different case styles and things like that. Also, we had a bunch of marriage licenses converted, books, a long time ago. Misspellings, names, they would insert the middle name as the last name and things like, because they didn't understand how it was written or how it was typed up. And when you have someone that's working in Grooper that's already trained to work in the criminal division or the civil division, or has worked in the file room and sees all the different parameters that you're working with and able to pick out those little mistakes, I think we're eliminating some of that human error by not shipping it off. We're saving ourselves time and money in it being at another office for 2-3 months and then getting it back and still not really having a finished product. Well, Sherry's response is, I love it. And Tiffany's response is, it's great.
It's been a lot less typing I've had to do, which is always a big plus for us back here. I like that a lot.
Some of the ink has been there for years and years, so it's faded out. So before we'd have to trace it or go make it copier or darker, but on Grooper you can just go into it and adjust the the darkness on it, and that just saves a lot of time.
I can do big bulker files now than before, and it will pick it up and scan the images and the file stamp dates for me without having me to go back and rekey it back in where it's supposed to be, and that's a lot easier than before for me.
I'm not hearing any complaints whatsoever, that everything's moving along really well. I was really shocked that you all had developed such a technique and couldn't be more pleased that I'm getting the opportunity to utilize it. And as soon as we get Windows 7, I want to push it out to all my other employees so that they can help preserve the old documents also. And like I said, I really want to see OCIS go with this. And that would just expedite the ability for my employees to preserve all these documents, but yet help the customers at the counter in a better way so that they're not so stressed, because there's a lot of pressure there to work that counter, come back to your desk, type in all that information, scan it in, check and make sure it's done right. Whereas if they had Grooper, that tension would be a lot less, and I think our work would be even more accurate than it is now, because my employees are really top-notch. They know their jobs, they know what they're doing, but everybody makes an error when they're typing in a document, or they forget to sign a file stamp or whatever. I mean, they find some of mine when they're scanning the old stuff, you know. You're human, so I think that Grooper would make our workforce a lot happier and a lot less stressed. You made sure that I had the equipment that I needed, and we discussed a lot of things. We discussed a lot of ins and outs, how it can be done, the best way to get it done. Every time we called, you were Johnny on the spot. You took care of us. I don't think there's ever been a time that I've called BIS Help Desk that I haven't gotten an answer and haven't gotten something taken care of. It may take a little bit of time because you had to build the system. As you were going, you were telling it what to do and how to do it. And then once my girls got to start working in it, why then things just really started to click. And I think that using us, because of our ability to bend and go with the flow, and we understand what it's like to develop something new. We've been at the forefront of some of these new programs that OCIS is putting out there, that those hiccups aren't that severe. And if we can work all of them out amongst the two of us, or us, you know, the two companies, then whenever you roll it out to other court clerks or other companies, you're going to have all those hiccups worked out.